Okay, go
Yeah.
ahead.
I'm Manny. I'm a software developer and I'm currently 28 years old.
I'm Stephen. Um, I am also a software engineer, 35.
We purchased in Magnolia.
Well, we were a little, we were window shopping for a couple of years with, the economy, the market the way it was, interest rates and things like that. We were window shopping for a while online. And I think we just, our lease on our apartment was coming up in the next 3 or 4 months. And we started thinking about what it's going to be like for us for the next 2 years and if interest rates are ever going to come down. And we just sort of started putting numbers to paper, and we figured out, like, you know what, despite the high interest rates, we can afford it. And maybe if they come down, we can refinance or something in the future. That's always an option for us. If they don't come down, we're okay. We can still afford it. And having a house was something we've wanted to do for several years. So we just jumped in, and it only took us it wasn't really a hot market, I guess. And so it only took us maybe a couple of weeks searching, and,
We started looking at a couple of houses and we ran into Kimberly, and
yeah.
2 weeks later we had a house.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it was a very quick process. It's kind of the best moment to look, I think, with the market the way it was. We weren't being pressured into doing something right away. So we're just like, you know what? Can we do it? Sure, let's go for it. See what happens.
We were actually taking a look at a condo building that day in that same neighborhood where we met Kimberly, and we took a look, just trying to see if we could find something with a bit more space for us. We were ready to make that step, I think. Just trying to discover what else was out there, and we took a look at all of the open houses that were in our vicinity. The first one we walked into, Kimberly was sitting there, and we struck up a conversation. We showed her another house that we were interested in, and she, kind of dropped everything and went with us and got us in there. And yeah, that's where the true discovery phase started.
Yeah, we ended up making an offer on that house.
Yes, yeah. It's a bit scary, definitely. We're not very informed in this whole process, and that's what y'all helped us with quite a bit. And that was a real learning experience with that first house as well. So we knew what to do going in with this other house that we found in Magnolia, and it, in my opinion, made things a lot smoother.
I think so. I'm one to do a lot of research up front with pretty much anything I do in my life. So I'm not very spontaneous, I'd say. So I do a lot of research up front, and that's probably why you think I had the good questions. But that presentation definitely helped sort of solidify my assumptions about certain things, and also clarify some things that were a little bit over my head in my own research. We kind of didn't really want to close any doors on some things because this was a first time home buyer experience for us. So we grew up in single family homes. So that's familiar to us, but we had been living in downtown Seattle for, I'm at like 7.5 years or something like that at this point. So we'd grown pretty accustomed to that lifestyle and being close to everything, where we walk outside of our door just a block or across the street at our older place to pick up, the stuff we just left off the grocery list from that weekend, and we're already cooking and we just forgot that one item, right? Just go across the street, or we go to a show and we don't have to worry about Ubers or taxis or a DD or anything like that. Just spontaneously being invited to a restaurant or something by some friends. We don't have to figure out like what traffic's like, what parking's going to be like. We just
Yeah.
walk, and
Even
it's
our jobs,
yeah,
everything has been just so accessible for the last half decade.
right.
So,
All kinds of
yeah.
things, all kinds of conveniences from the city. So we didn't really want to rule out a condo. So we did tour a condo, but um, we had also been looking at places west of Seattle on the other side of the Sound, closer to like ferry terminals and things to help take some stress out of a commute because we both work in the downtownish area, where we could have gotten a lot of land for the amount of money we spent on the house in Magnolia. Um, could have got a good amount of land for lots of cool projects, lots more privacy, um, closer to our Texas roots, I should say,
Yeah.
right? So, like, but we decided against it because of everything I mentioned before about the convenience being closer to the city and Magnolia, um, and the other neighborhood we were looking at, Queen Anne. They're very close. Like, we can't necessarily walk to the grocery store. I mean, we could actually. It's not far. It's not far,
They have
but it's
their
not
own
across the street, right?
communities where everything is within, a
Yeah.
mile or so.
Yeah,
So,
and we don't have as many options, but we have the single family home and the privacy that comes along with that, and then the quiet neighborhood. That's going to
yeah,
be a big benefit to us.
we
There's
have
no
our out.
sirens at the middle of the night.
Yeah, we have our outdoor space,
Yeah.
which we can transform and plant whatever we like, and
So yeah, we kind of came down to the average of those two things, I think.
it's a very sizable home. 3,000 square feet. It gives us so much room to work with. I think 5 bedrooms and 3 bathrooms. It's the style that we love, a lovely mid-century modern home. It's both of our favorite, you know, style. Uh, we're able to come in and kind of put our touch on things. Completely, while we love all of the different features of the home, we're able to come in and take a look at the space that we have for our kitchen, that we have for our primary suite, and we're able to like wipe it clean and start fresh with a kitchen where we can both cook. We both cook every night of the week, pretty much, and then a lot of space with which we can entertain. A large space for a formal dining area, a whole finished patio where we can enclose things and have a kitchenette outside. um, it's just everything I think we've wanted. Places for us to plant and grow our own food. That's something I wanted to do forever. Space for which we can have a little pet finally. And the proximity to Discovery Park and the coast is amazing. I'm so excited to finally start exploring that, walking every day. It just seems perfect. So,
We had looked at other homes that were probably going to be a little bit more comfortable to live in for an extended period of time, before doing any kind of remodels. This one, I think, is the one we ended up with is a bit of a project for us, mostly because it's a little older and there's lots of signs of wear and tear versus some other homes that we saw. So, you know, we worked with you, Ray, and you, Kimberly, to try to get that price right. Um, and so that we could maybe use some of the money that we had left over toward some renovations. Um, so the first thing on our list, I think Manny mentioned it, was like a kitchen remodel. There that include like this house. Manny didn't really mention this, but this house is it's pretty simple in its layout, and um, we could take out a lot of walls if we wanted to. Reshape certain rooms. It's pretty boxy. It's like it's was built in the 50s. It's a classic. The exterior, at least, maybe the interior, I guess, with the beams and all, is classic, like a Pacific Northwestern home. And it's just easy to work with. Each room is square. Um, so lots of opportunities there for doing things. And one of those is another one apart from the kitchen, which we're going to, maybe extend by taking out some of those walls, um, is the primary suite. So this house does have a primary suite, but it, is a little older home. So it doesn't really wow you when it comes to the bathroom and the closet space like a lot of more contemporary homes are. So that's another project that we have on our list where, she said it's 5 bedrooms, but we're going to absorb one of those bedrooms into the primary suite. And using that space, we're going to expand the bathroom a bit and then make a nice sort of California closet.
Yeah.
And hopefully that's a great investment, but I know it's going to make us a lot more comfortable with the space.
And I mean, even with absorbing that room, we're left with, 3 other bedrooms with which we can create offices or guest rooms and so on.
So. That process was quite easy, I'd say. We ended up going with one of the recommended mortgage brokers that Kimberly gave us. And I had received some other advice that working with like the one we ended up going with, not really a local mortgage broker, but they have like local offices, like a local branch. And it is like a regional or maybe even national. I know it's bigger than just Seattle. But we were recommended that because we were told that they're usually a lot more attentive and a lot faster in getting things done and more communicative than going with a big national bank, for instance. And I did like shop some rates from a few other brokers, and they were really about the same. And it was just simple. As a first-time home buyer, it was really simple, and any questions that I had were answered very quickly by the brokerage we went with. No, I think that it's like, maybe this is good for more well-informed people, second, third, fourth time home buyers. But I'll say, like, as first-time home buyers, it's sometimes a little overwhelming seeing all the line items and like all the little fees here and there. Some of them are small, some are large, but um, we're software engineers, we're not finance people, so like some of these things I just have to trust. And I think, let my guard down a little bit, I'd say, and let trust the people who are the experts, right? And I could be difficult with them and try to get a discount on this or that or this, but honestly, it would have slowed down the process a lot. So
made it more stressful than it already
what
was.
is it? Like, I don't know if it's really worth that. And especially with, I think the fees were not high. I mean, they were definitely not high, and what I would get out of them was just not worth it. So I wouldn't say there was a lot of curveballs. One thing that did, I guess, kind of suck is that I was really timid about the process in general, just buying a house. And so we had a pre-approval at a better rate, but I drug my feet trying to just understand the process a lot more and not jumping in. And over time, we ended up getting a worse rate. And that was all over, really. I didn't even really shop quotes until after that. And yeah, so I'd say if anybody watches this, just if you want it, just go for it, and you'll figure it out later. Like, and it kind of goes along with that age-old advice that we've been hearing for the last 40 or 50 years. Like, don't try to time the market. Like,
it's the same advice we're getting for like hiring a contractor, starting a renovation. Just so that you just have to start it, I was very, I guess, charmed by Kimberly. I thought you were the nicest person I'd ever. And we had been talking to one other realtor, and I just felt like you were so much more engaged with us about this and informative, and I don't know, sharing all the different ideas that we could do with a certain house that we were starting to like. And it felt like you were very personally involved with that process with us. And then, meeting with you, Ray, on our rooftop that one night, that was also, you were very upfront about everything. And I really valued that. I felt like you gave us any news, negative or positive, just the full on truth. So that's why I think I liked y'all.
And my perspective on it, I'll ditto to everything that she said, but the more technical piece of that contract was a little bit of a surprise. Like I didn't really know about it at all. Maybe somebody who is purchasing a home for a second time might understand the difference in what it was before. But I guess I appreciate that this new process kind of lays everything out up front so that there aren't surprises when it comes to like commissions and things. I've never lived through that. Maybe it's very frustrating for other home buyers in the past, but I'd say as maybe feedback, there are some things in that process that, or that contract that I don't know are or are not negotiable. But because of what Manny said, it was easy to just sign. Pretty much like the other real estate agent we were talking to presented the same type of contract, and maybe it is a good thing, but what they offered was that if you sign this before our next meeting, we will discount our commission by 0.25% or something, to get you to lock it in for 180 days or something. So I get that, but if the personalities weren't really a match, it's not worth it, probably. Um, and then you're kind of locked in for 180 days, and if you don't like your agent, I don't know if there's a way out of that contract. I'm sure there is, but um, maybe it would have turned us off from the process in general, and we would have just waited even longer. That's kind of what I was thinking about it. And luckily, my one of my aunts is a real estate agent, not here in Washington State, but she was able to offer a lot of advice, and she said that Kimberly was very nice, and she was impressed with Kimberly as well. So I was a lot, that was just like the reasons to sign were piling up. So I just went with it. So. Um, no, well, yeah, I guess I would just say that don't be afraid to ask questions, because you guys are eager to keep in contact to make sure the process moves forward. However, I wouldn't there I with other brokers, especially the mortgage brokers, I felt that they wanted to keep that momentum going. Um, well, how do I say this? I feel like they were more salesman like, where they want to keep that momentum going because the numbers were large and it makes you nervous. So, depending on the personality of the buyer, like myself, then maybe um, they would be more pressured to keep the process going. But I never really felt that from the real estate agents that we were working with, you guys. Um, it definitely seemed you were more personable, I'd say, a little bit less salesman-like.
Yeah.
You were more willing to work with us as first-time home buyers, being, totally ignorant of the process from the very beginning, answering probably dumb questions.
Never a dumb question.
Yeah, and so I would say as advice, just don't be afraid to ask because you are always accommodating. Yeah. What are your impressions?
It was pretty seamless, like anytime any other document or information was needed, we were told and we provided it. And then I feel like that was it,
Yeah. I mean, I think that a lot of that closing process was on our mortgage broker.
Yeah.
And they did a really good job of kind of laying out up front after we got our pre-approval and started to apply for the loan. They enumerated all the things that we needed to provide and all of the things that we would need to provide if something were to happen. And so, and like I was saying before, they were very quick to communicate with. If I had a question, I would probably have a response within an hour. Sometimes less. Like I'd say maybe half the time less than an hour, as long as it's business hours. I don't want to bother people, at night too much. But sometimes sometimes people work that late. I know I was. but with the mortgage broker, they made everything really smooth. I can't really recall much that we needed to deal with on the real estate side, other than getting that number right and getting to mutual agreement between ourselves and the seller.
Thank you all for everything. I think about the whole process, especially as we were winding up to the closing date. Just general texts or emails from y'all, Ray, Beth, and Kim, reminding us like, make sure to sign up for utilities or make sure to do this. And it just gave us a really nice, organized checklist to go down before that, we received those keys and were able to start the work on the house. It was really nice.
I think like keeping the communication open is really key. Just like there were a couple times where I was, twiddling my thumbs, right? Like, am I supposed to be doing something at this point? And maybe a couple times I fired off an email just to make sure, like, hey, is there anything else that I need to do? And then I'm sure on your end, you just had your actual checklist, and you just responded no, and we're just waiting, right?
Yeah.
And it seemed like during that process, like not doing anything was a little bit weird because things were going really fast. There were so many documents. Yes. Like it felt weird just not doing anything, but firing off that email, just asking, hey, is there anything I need to do? Because I'm just gonna cook dinner if not. Like
it was nice reassurance.
Yeah, was pretty important. So everything was good, and yeah, thanks. Oh, that's cool.
That's so sweet.
It's like it says Stephen and Manny, and it has a little heart where our house is.
That is so nice, y'all.